This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
Welcome to the Stop and Listen podcast. I'm your host, Jamie. So it's Sunday night. The time of week I hate the most. When the sun's going down on Sundays, and especially when it's a Sunday like today, and I don't feel like I've accomplished almost anything, which I didn't. My little tummy was bothering me today, and thank you, diverticulitis. I did have a nice Saturday, though. I went to church, went to lunch with my mother, went back to the gym, was working out, and that's why I was so disappointed today. I went and worked out yesterday, and my plan was to get up and 100% do that today, but my little tummy wasn't going to allow it. So, UFC 308, I think, or something like that, happened last night, and Trump went. And he took a posse, and a posse like he's never taken before. This is from Speaker Mike Johnson. So we've got Don Jr., we got Eric, we got Mike Johnson, we've got RFK Jr., and we've got Tulsi Gabbard. Dana White added Trump and RFK. And we got Jelly Roll here in the background, Kid Rock. I smell a collaboration. But now Mike Johnson showed up at court for Trump, which was like the first. So this picture here, that's when I knew things were different. When he was in court in New York, and Bo Burgum, I think his name is Bo Burgum, governor of some state up north, Byron Donalds, Mike Johnson, Vivek Ramaswamy, Corey Mills, Eric off there in the background. But when this, and like all week they went to court with him, different people went to court with him and showed him. But when I seen this, I'm like, okay, it's different now. Now it's different. Trump has a team. And everything has just been, and everything to happen after that. I mean, RFK joined, Tulsi Gabbard joined, Rogan joined. He's the people's president, folks, whether you like it or not. But the fact that Speaker Johnson was there, I mean, it says something. It says something about Trump's agenda and his controversial picks, which, I mean, aren't necessarily controversial. I mean, it's controversial because he picked a former Democrat to be the head of intelligence. And RFK Jr. is not a doctor to head HHS, but you don't have to be a doctor to run a company. That's essentially what it is. Should be. Terrible. Posted this picture of Elon and Tulsi, RFK Jr. and Mr. Trump, President Trump, RFK with his small ties. And then, I guess, it looks like a plane. They got McDonald's, and RFK doesn't look too happy there. So, I mean, I'm sure Don Jr. is fine. Trump clearly likes McDonald's. I'm guessing these other guys haven't had a Big Mac in a number of years. Trump posted this on his YouTube channel. I have not watched it. Let's see what it says.
We can now officially project that Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States. He will be going back to the White House. I will fight for you, for your family, and your future with every breath in my body. We're never going to stop fighting for you, for your dreams, for the future of your children. We're going to lead the greatest comeback in American history under Donald Trump's leadership. God
I mean, even the liberal meltdowns seems to be dying off, which we do not think it's over. Soros just hasn't chosen to activate his army yet. Unless he just doesn't want to end up in prison. I mean, it's either stop him from taking office or y'all better run. And speaking of Mike Johnson, he opposes releasing Matt Gaetz' health ethics report. Open a Pandora's box. Which, you say something like that, and I'm not judging Mike Johnson. I don't know the context. I'm guessing the context wasn't how it hits the ears. That is such bullshit. He's not going to damage his own reputation, I don't think, to defend Matt Gaetz if Matt Gaetz is a scumbag. And I don't get the best feeling from Matt Gaetz. I mean, not just now. I mean, it's been a while. But Trump's adamant. And I do not think he'd be adamant if he thought this could be true or knew this. I mean, I assume Trump has looked at this or asked Johnson, is this something really to be concerned about? The answer is no. So this was Trump entering UFC.
I'm an extremely stable genius.
Now,
Okay.
you probably won't hear the audio on this because UFC is bitches.
Don't be rude.
Yeah, Joe Rogan is commentating, whatever, is calling the walk-in kind of. You're not gonna. I'm not gonna be able to. Kid Rock is playing in the background.
You are fake news.
That's enough for them to flag it, and I'm just not dealing with that shit.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Come a long way from threatening Joe Rogan. When Rogan said he liked the RFK.
It don't make no difference where I was to be. We'll always be friends. Can't nobody stop that.
I hadn't seen all this. I should keep talking because, so I don't know who that guy is on the left. Rogan, the other announcers, fight, fight, fight. Such a beautiful sign. I mean, look at this. I mean, he has to deliver on promises. This is not about bravado, but he, I think, knows. He knows that. He can't fail. Sage Steele right there. Wow. See, Mike Johnson, I mean, he's not just sitting there. Trump is not just George Bush or Mitt Romney. Like, to be part of that is just going to change the frame. I would sure think so. And then CNN said this.
He's flooded the zone with these picks and forced Republicans to choose. And I think it's interesting to me that he brought Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. to the UFC event last night. He is, frankly, giving, I think, supporter-based permission structure, and he's made these folks stars over the course of this campaign. I mean, in some ways, it's easy to view this, I think, through a different lens. Like, this is also just a person who won following through on campaign promises. He promised retribution, he promised vengeance, and he promised these kind of figures having prominent places in this administration, and he's delivering it in
They came after him with everything they could. The Justice Department, the Democrats, and the Republicans did not help out at all. And if anything else, they held the door open for the Democrats to attack.
For a lot of those supporters, that is the point of the Trump vote. And so I don't think that's the fullness of the electorate we saw on Tuesday. I think for a lot of people, they backed Trump probably as a rejection of the administration and weren't thinking of this as an endorsement of every single thing he's talked about. But for the hardcore base, the folks he listens to the most, they voted for Trump for the purposes of RFK Jr. riling the big pharma, right? And so what they're going to force
Damn right.
to do is make a choice on those calls, and they will be doing so with the backing of the electorate it. I don't think we can just say that they won't get through. I will believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I mean, and it really looks like ancient Rome here. This is sort of a conquering Republican Caesar who's going into the Colosseum, and everyone's cheering, and he's got his political gladiators with him. That appearance isn't just about him enjoying the applause. He's sending a message to the Senate. For sure. Like,
See, all the Trump derangement syndrome, unless you're truly have been warped in your heart, if you're just your average liar on CNN or MSNBC, who just would have rather have a progressive in the White House, understandable. But you can't dismiss it. Win after win after win. Iconic image after iconic image after iconic image after iconic image. Yes, this is Caesar returning, and hopefully he doesn't get knifed on the back.
hey, but these are my people, and are you willing to fight? Because here's who I have.
Are any of us surprised by this? I feel like for anybody who has been covering Trump's campaign or his movement the past few years, these picks, sure, they're raising eyebrows, to say the least, but they're yes, exactly. They've been with him at all these rallies. They've played a key role in where he's at.
It's the team. So after John Jones knocked out his opponent, just kind of pummeled him, we saw this. You know, that's cool. I wish the fight would. Charlie Kirk says, make no mistake, Donald Trump has a historic mandate to end the woke bureaucracy, dismantle racist DEI departments, protect the innocence of children, remove men from women's sports, close the border, deport millions of illegals, make the military great again, stop the surveillance on American citizens, destroy the censorship industrial complex and the chronic disease epidemic, remove poison in our foods and farms, empower law enforcement to lock up criminals, unleash American energy, deregulate the economy, free the January 6 prisoners. I think that should be moved up to the top. And the indoctrination on college campuses. Fortify election integrity. That's just not something he can do. They can advocate for it. The Republicans should be advocating for it and pushing it for their own sake. I don't really understand why, because, well, this is the game they play. They want to be very gracious losers. Slap tariffs on unfair trade partners, end the wars in Ukraine and the Middle East, and purge the government of those who have weaponized the levers of power against its citizens. He needs his cabinet to fulfill this mandate. We must get each and every one of them. We must get each and every one of them confirmed. Ian Yeager, posted this from a former FBI director, Andrew McCabe, says that Kash Patel, who's like, that's who the MAGA wants, is probably who it'll be, says that Kash Patel is profoundly incapable of running the FBI. Yeah, we don't want him to run it. We want him to destroy it. And Dan Bongino was also there last night, and apparently he's a top contender with the guy in the fight picture, the big tall bodyguard. That's like Trump's main bodyguard. One of those two are going to head up the Secret Service. I want to see the guy who's Trump's bodyguard stay Trump's bodyguard and stay close to him. And then he could take over in 4 years. But let's have Bongino try to reduce the shenanigans. So AOC, she's had this post where she was asking for people like recommend podcasts and so forth. She removed her pronouns from her Twitter profile. She says there's a disease in Washington of Democrats who spend more time listening to the donor class than working people. If you want to know the seed of the party's political crisis, that's it. Well, and that's the same thing for Republicans. It is the exact same thing. It's just aside from Trump. Trump would go to these rallies and people would cheer for him. He would say lots of stuff and he would gauge what they said. The DNC needs an organizer who gets people, not someone who sends fish heads in the mail. And that was a repost of Rahm Emanuel's weighing a bid for DNC chair. 3 people with knowledge tell Axios. Axios has been an early booster this week. And Rahm Emanuel was Obama's chief of staff. So that'd be interesting. And he became mayor of Chicago. We probably want somebody less capable. Yeah, a picture here of, I think this is Eisenhower here. Not a lot of medals for a guy who won us World War II. And this guy, I think it's Milley, I'm not 100%, but he's got a lot of medals. And that just shows you we became the trophy generation. And then lastly, let's listen to this idiot.
Ads on that one issue. And it was frustrating to see the Harris campaign fail to formulate a response, especially because it's pretty easy to do. Watch, I'll do it for you right now. As we've discussed before, there are vanishingly few trans girls competing in high schools anywhere. Even if there were more, trans kids, like all kids, vary in athletic ability, and there is no evidence they pose any threat to safety or fairness. It is
That's not true.
very weird for you to be so focused on this subject. And finally, if you genuinely want to address the biggest concern for most girls who play high school sports, you'd be less worried about this.
You'd be worried about their teachers. Honestly. You'd be worried about their teachers.
And more about the creepy assistant volleyball coach who keeps liking their posts on fucking Instagram. Ads on that.
He actually got that one halfway right. He dismisses that issue out of hand, even though there's a lot of evidence that he's wrong, that he clearly just doesn't want to see. But then he says what the real problem, the real threat is, which is also a real problem, real threat. Hey, I got an idea. Let's address both of them. All right, folks, that's all I got. We're still waiting see if Kash Patel gets a job, Dan Mangino gets a job. His press secretary wasn't anything interesting. I never heard of her. Apparently she'll be fine. And then Dr. Ben Carson, let's hope he has a role too. Why wouldn't he? And then Jay Bhattacharya, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, he's going to get he's going to take over one of the departments. So the fun is not over yet. The battle over Gates is going to be a hell of a one. And then I mean, they're not going to like Tulsi. They're not going to like RFK. They're not going to like Pete Hegseth. I wonder why he wasn't there. But yeah. It is kind of interesting that Pete Hegseth and Matt Gaetz weren't at the UFC. I wonder why that is. Probably a reason. It's going to be entertaining, folks. We got our country back, except for it broke today that Biden apparently authorized long-range missiles for Ukraine to use against Russia, which Russia has said that will start World War III. So hopefully somebody has some self-restraint. Either Putin when he gets attacked, or Zelensky. Not super optimistic, but I mean, all this joy that we feel here, all the positivity that we see in the distance, that could be hampered if Trump has to deal with World War III out of the gate. So, and that's probably the plan. So, folks, have a great week. I don't have anything deeper to say, except for just remember, the Lord spoke the universe into existence. What do you do with your voice? I'll see you next time.
I'd say that was a pretty successful broadcast.
This is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time.
This war stops now.
End the war. Bring freedom to our people.
No. No more tricks. No more lies. Only truth.
This is where we hold them! This is where we fight!